Some people have a remarkable ability to brighten any space they enter, radiating a warmth and happiness that affects everyone around them. Their presence is a beacon of peace and joy, instantly lifting the mood of the room and filling it with a sense of well-being. These individuals are the epitome of kindness and understanding, always available to lend an ear or a helping hand. They judge no one and are driven by a heartfelt mission to positively impact the lives of others. Their warmth and caring nature are evident in every conversation, offering both comfort and inspiration to those they interact with. Their benevolence isn't about gaining attention or reward, it's an inherent part of who they are. From grand gestures to simple acts of kindness, they act out of a profound sense of empathy and a desire to make a meaningful contribution to their community. Their compassionate demeanor often leads them to form connections with those who are struggling emotionally, providing significant support and nurturing. However, in their quest to heal others, they can sometimes neglect their own needs, resulting in relationships that are more about giving than receiving. It's vital for these selfless souls to prioritize their own well-being as much as they do for others. Practicing self-care and setting personal boundaries are crucial steps in ensuring they don't deplete their own energy. By maintaining their health and happiness, they can sustain their ability to assist and uplift others over the long haul. Today, I'll talk about what the Bible says about waiting for God. Get ready to learn and reflect. Before we go on, I'm eager to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment when you felt God's presence or knew He had a plan for you? Share your stories in the comments below. This isn't just about sharing stories, it's about us growing together in faith. If today's message speaks to you or could help someone else, please consider subscribing and sharing this video. Together, let's nurture a community rooted in care, faith, and a shared pursuit of spiritual understanding. Thanks for subscribing. Throughout our spiritual journeys, mastering the art of patience is a profound challenge, particularly when we're eagerly waiting for God to answer our prayers. C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity beautifully points out that there's always a good reason behind God's timing. This period of anticipation is something all believers go through, often leaving us wondering when the changes we pray for will finally happen. It's essential to have faith in God's impeccable timing. As the Bible says in Isaiah 46:10, "I make known the end from the beginning, from ancient times, what is still to come. I say, my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please." This verse comforts us by confirming that God has a plan, and everything unfolds according to His schedule, even if it's from a distance. Stories from the Bible are replete with examples of people who have had to wait faithfully. Waiting can seem like it lasts forever, fraught with doubts. Whether it's a prayer for relief from continual pain, a wish for a loved one's heart to soften, or a significant life change like securing a job or mending a relationship, these times of waiting make us question whether God is really noticing our pain and troubles. However, we find immense comfort in Jeremiah 33:3, which states, "Call to me and I will answer you, and tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know." This promise reassures us that God is always listening and will reveal wisdom that surpasses our understanding. Whether we're praying for economic security, emotional restoration, or to repair a broken relationship, waiting is more than just a test of patience. It's an opportunity to draw nearer to God and grasp His intentions more clearly. The experience of waiting is active and vital, not just a passive pause in our lives. It's during these periods that we often learn the most about ourselves and God's character. By depending on faith over our own logic, we align more closely with God's extensive plan for us. Waiting then transforms into a powerful period of self-discovery and spiritual deepening, challenging us, but also preparing us to emerge stronger and more connected to our faith. This phase, though tough, is filled with possibilities for personal enlightenment and forging a closer bond with the divine. When you consistently pray and are met with silence, it can be disheartening to feel as though you are being ignored. You cling to your faith, hoping for even the tiniest acknowledgement, a simple sign that your prayers are not going unnoticed. However, there are moments when all that surrounds you is quiet. In these times of silence, you might question God's nearness. Consider the story of Joseph from Genesis. Facing immense betrayal and adversity, Joseph realized that God was meticulously crafting his journey towards a greater goal. He explained to his brothers in Genesis 50:20, "What you intended for harm, God used for the ultimate good, the preservation of numerous lives." This tale emphasizes that, while God's plans might not be immediately visible, they are flawlessly timed. If you find yourself in a situation similar to Joseph's, confined and hoping for change, remember that silence from God does not equate to his absence. God is quietly at work. His acts of kindness, power, and mercy are happening out of sight. He is lovingly laying the groundwork for something wonderful in your life because of his deep affection for you. God acts as a nurturing father who wishes to improve your life. Let's delve into some biblical teachings about patiently waiting for God's perfect timing. A key idea to keep in mind is that delays from God are not denials. C.S.Lewis notes in Mere Christianity, God keeps no one waiting unless he sees that it is good for him to wait. Often, the answers to your prayers exceed your expectations or manifest in unexpected ways. Seeking God's guidance is just the beginning of moving in the right direction. Waiting is an active period of personal development and preparation. During these times, you are being molded and primed for future opportunities. This period is crucial for building resilience and strengthening your faith, aligning you more closely with God's design. It's a time of transformation where your character is refined and your spirit is elevated, preparing you for the forthcoming blessings and trials. In today's world where speed and efficiency are highly valued, the idea of waiting can be seen as outdated or frustrating. We live in an era where everything from messages to meals is expected instantaneously, fueled by technological advancements. This rush creates a mindset where waiting is viewed as unproductive, often leading to feelings of anxiety or the fear of missing out, as it disrupts the fast-paced rhythm we're used to. When the results of our waiting are unknown, it becomes even more difficult. As time stretches on, doubts begin to surface, challenging our faith and prompting us to wonder if our trust in God will be rewarded. These doubts can become so overpowering that we might feel driven to handle things ourselves instead of waiting for God's timing, but this can lead to complications. The Bible offers clear warnings about the dangers of such impulsiveness. Proverbs 3:5-6 tells us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. This verse highlights the risks involved in ignoring God's guidance in favor of making our own decisions. In those extended periods of waiting, when it seems like our prayers are going unanswered and time is dragging, the urge to step in can become overwhelming. You may be experiencing this right now, feeling stuck as nothing changes despite your prayers and faith. During such times, doubts can start to whisper tempting thoughts, pushing you to abandon your faith because things aren't happening according to your expected timeline. But think about the deadline we give to God. How much time are we willing to wait before we decide to walk away? How soon do we think about quitting our spiritual journey if things don't happen as we wish? It's essential to understand that God's timeline is not the same as ours. In these long periods of waiting, we must avoid the impulse to take control and trust in God's perfect plan, even when patience seems impossible. Tahi's waiting times shouldn't just be seen as tough stretches to get through. Instead, they are valuable chances for personal growth and spiritual reflection. They offer us moments to deepen our faith, build patience, and strengthen our bond with God. These are the times to truly measure the depth of our trust in him and reaffirm our dedication to his path, recognizing that each moment of waiting brings us closer to spiritual maturity and a deeper connection with the divine. Maintain your faith, nurture your hope, and always remember that God is actively involved, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Take, for example, the account of Lazarus from John 11. Mary and Martha, hoping for a healing miracle, informed Jesus that their brother Lazarus was gravely ill. Yet Jesus did not hurry to their side, and during this delay, Lazarus died. Upon his arrival, Mary and Martha were in the depths of mourning and couldn't help but wonder why Jesus hadn't come sooner. Yet this delay was purposeful. Jesus used this moment to reveal a greater glory. He raised Lazarus from the dead, illustrating that God's timing often serves a higher purpose, even surpassing the finality of death. This story emphasizes that divine timing can transcend our understanding and expectations. Sometimes, what appears as a delay is actually an opportunity for God to manifest his power and plan in even greater ways. As we navigate through our own waiting periods, this lesson encourages us to look for the larger, often unseen workings of God that are unfolding. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us that God's thoughts and ways are vastly superior to ours. When we face delays and setbacks, it's easy to become disheartened, but these are the moments we should deepen our trust in God. He operates on a divine timetable, meticulously arranging circumstances for our good, even though it may not be immediately apparent. Instead of viewing delays as denials, we should see them as opportunities to strengthen our faith and witness the marvel of God's plans unfolding. Patience truly is a virtue, as C.S. points out in Mere Christianity. He suggests that the difficulties we often see as disruptions are actually the core of our lives, sent by God daily. This insight can be fleeting, making it challenging to maintain this perspective constantly. There are times when it feels like God is distant in responding to our prayers, whether for healing, help, or breakthroughs. In these moments, disappointment and doubt can creep in, making us wonder if God is listening. However, as Lewis discusses in Letters to Malcolm, it's crucial to present our genuine selves to God in prayer. Our delays aren't signs of God's indifference, but rather opportunities for Him to work profoundly in our lives, just as Jesus demonstrated His power through Lazarus. In today's fast-paced world, patience seems out of fashion. We crave quick solutions and instant satisfaction, which makes waiting on God's timing challenging. Patience involves more than endurance. It embodies resilience, persistence, and faith, holding on to hope even when the outcome looks bleak and submitting our plans to God's greater purpose. Patience is also illustrated through farming, as described in James 5:7-8. Farmers wait expectantly for their crops, relying on seasonal rains and growth cycles. Much like we await God's promises, patience isn't passive. It's an active trust in God's reliability, even amidst uncertainty. Furthermore, understanding God's perspective can transform our approach to life's challenges. Recognizing that our setbacks might actually be setups for greater revelations helps us embrace patience, not just as waiting, but as a strategic part of our spiritual growth. This mindset adjustment aligns our expectations with God's expansive timetable. Our spiritual journey involves learning to wait in anticipation, not just for answers to our prayers, but also for spiritual maturity and readiness. God crafts our waiting periods to refine our character and prepare us for the blessings and tasks ahead. The ability to wait on God reflects a heart fully surrendered to His will and timing, acknowledging that every delay has a divine purpose. It's about seeing beyond our immediate desires and trusting that God's overarching plan will provide far greater satisfaction and fulfillment. Let's admit it, mastering patience is no easy feat. It becomes particularly tough when faced with obstacles, unanswered prayers, and the feeling that time is slipping away. Doubt begins to creep in, urging us to take action ourselves. However, trying to accelerate God's timeline only results in frustration and disappointment. Instead, we ought to value patience as a crucial virtue that not only builds resilience, but also shapes our character. Romans 5:3-4 puts it beautifully. We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. Placing our faith in God's perfect timing, as Romans 8:28 assures us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose, provides us with the comfort that everything is being arranged for our best. Waiting times are not just idle periods. They are precious moments for personal growth, refinement, and readiness for the wonderful things to come. Therefore, as we endure these waiting times, we should develop patience, trusting that God is reliable and His promises will materialize at the ideal time. C.S. Lewis in The Screwtape Letters points out, "The enemy wants men to focus on their actions. Our task is to keep them focused on the future, a time filled with anxiety about the uncontrollable. This teaches us to shift our focus from the present to the eternal, allowing faith to take the place of worry. The Bible encourages us to let patience have its perfect work. Patience is an active trait, sharpened in the waiting rooms of life. While you might not witness instant changes, important transformations are taking place behind the scenes. Patience bolsters your spiritual strength, fostering growth, transformation, and increased resilience. Never take lightly these waiting periods, nor feel disheartened if things don't move as swiftly as you'd like. Keep in mind, the longer the wait, the more substantial the blessings God is preparing for you. When the time is right, when God believes you are ready, the fruits of your patience will exceed all your expectations. Our ambitions, the hurdles we aim to conquer, and the connections we seek to make often stir up our impatience. Feeling disheartened and agitated when delays surpass our expectations is natural. However, these delays are not necessarily signs of God's lack of action. They often suggest that we are not yet prepared for what He has planned. You may feel ready, but if you were to see things from God's broader perspective, you'd realize you still need more time to develop, gather experiences, and evolve. Moreover, embracing this period of waiting can lead to significant self-discovery and personal growth. By syncing with God's timing, you open up to deeper understandings and experiences that you might overlook in your rush. This stage is not just about waiting, but about becoming the individual who will truly value and effectively use the blessings when they finally come. While waiting, it's vital to cultivate gratitude. Acknowledging and valuing the small advances and lessons each day can profoundly enrich your spiritual path, enhancing the ultimate realization of your prayers and goals. Let's revisit the remarkable narrative of Abraham and Sarah as recounted in Genesis 21, revealing the strength of God's promises. Abraham was nearing a century old, and Sarah was not far behind at 90 when they received their long-awaited son, Isaac. This miraculous event underlined the incredible power of patience and the reality that some of God's promises might take a lifetime to unfold. In our personal journeys, we frequently find ourselves in periods of anticipation, hoping and praying for God to act in our lives. Whether it's for healing, a financial upturn, or mending of relationships, there are times when it feels like our prayers hang unanswered in the silence, breeding doubts about their reach and resonance. But think of these waiting times as periods rich with potential for personal development and change. The trials faced by Abraham and Sarah were not mere obstacles. They were essential in shaping them for the blessings that were to follow. With this in mind, we should firmly plant our feet in the soil of trust and patience, holding on to the belief that God is true to His word. He orchestrates our life's events with precision, even though it may not always be visible to us. Waiting with this mindset transforms our perspective, enabling us to witness the unfolding of His divine plans at the perfect time. It is crucial during these waiting times to cultivate a heart of gratitude and to continually worship, celebrating God's omnipotence and everlasting presence. Proverbs 3, 5, 6 teaches us to trust the Lord completely and to depend not on our own insight, but on His guidance to steer our path. This insight encourages us to relinquish our control over our own timetables and desires, trusting instead in His grand vision for our lives, even in moments of uncertainty. Continued prayer is essential, particularly when it feels like our prayers are floating into the void. We must maintain a strong faith, one that appreciates that God's ways and His timing are infinitely superior to our own. We should broaden the scope of our trust. It's enlightening to understand that God's schedule relates not only to our individual desires, but also integrates into a broader divine blueprint for all humanity. This realization helps us see our own stories as fragments of a much bigger picture, meticulously assembled by God. Reflect on the wider impact of our faith during these waiting periods. Every instance of delay is more than just a standstill. It's a critical phase of building endurance and deepening trust, which strengthens our faith. In the Screwtape Letters, C.S. delves into the idea that our frustrations usually stem not just from bad luck, but from feeling unjustly treated. He argues that when people feel their expected rights are thwarted, they get upset. Lewis suggests shifting this mindset by fostering humility and satisfaction, which can lead to a more peaceful and tranquil life. Similarly, Psalm 46:10 encourages us to stop for a moment and acknowledge God's supreme power, assuring us of a deep peace that shields us from worry and uncertainty. Accepting tranquility in God's timing is about appreciating the waiting period as a chance for growth and introspection rather than just a hold-up. It means loosening our hold on desired outcomes and having faith in the perfection of God's timing, even if it doesn't match our own agendas. Philippians 4:6-7 comforts us by saying that peace doesn't come from managing every detail of our lives, but from laying our concerns before God in prayer, allowing us to find rest under His vast authority. In a world where unpredictability reigns, it can be natural to feel swamped by the unknown and attempt to take control ourselves. However, real peace is achieved when we release our fears and believe that God is overseeing our lives for our best interest. This belief not only eases our immediate anxieties, but also bolsters our enduring faith in His plan. Let's therefore resolve to seek peace in God's timing. By surrendering our worries to Him and relying on His guidance, we open ourselves to the peace He promises. As we patiently wait, Our faith deepens, preparing us to fully enjoy the blessings He has prepared. We realize that finding serenity isn't just about gracefully handling delays. It's also about enhancing our spiritual toughness. It's about seeing every moment of waiting as a chance to fortify our faith and align our desires with God's intentions. In doing this, we not only manage the current challenges, but also gear up for the future that God has envisioned for us. Additionally, this journey highlights the wonders of God's perfect timing. It often brings to light blessings and insights we might overlook if everything went as we initially planned. These revelations can lead to new understandings about our abilities and the greater plans God has for us, which are likely far beyond our imaginations. As we embrace the concept of finding peace in God's timing, let us also broaden our perspective on how this principle affects not just our personal lives, but also the wider human story. Every act of letting go and trusting in God uncovers deeper truths about our identity and the divine scheme we are part of. This broader view not only enriches our own experiences, but also ties us to a larger story of faith and purpose, enhancing both our lives and those around us. In the teachings of Christianity, C.S.Lewis offers a vivid metaphor. Think of yourself as a house that God is continually renovating. Initially, you might grasp why He's fixing leaks or clearing clogged drains. Those are obvious fixes. However, the real confusion begins when the changes become more drastic and painful. Why would God make such changes? Lewis explains that God isn't just sprucing up a cottage. He's constructing a grand palace to reside in Himself. This idea aligns with Proverbs 19:21, which tells us that though we may have numerous plans, it's ultimately God's purpose that endures. Our own schemes might seem right to us, but God's overarching plan is what ultimately unfolds. In times of uncertainty and prolonged waiting, it might become challenging to perceive the vast scope of God's dominion. It's natural to ponder the reasons behind specific events, or why some prayers go seemingly unanswered. In such times, it's crucial to remember that God's knowledge and plans are far beyond our understanding. Trusting in God's supreme rule also means believing in His impeccable timing, acknowledging that He is in control and that His plans are orchestrated for our ultimate good. The concept of divine sovereignty can be particularly comforting in a chaotic and unpredictable world. Psalm 103:19 reminds us, "The Lord has established His throne in heaven, and His kingdom rules over all." This verse reassures us that God reigns supreme, even in circumstances that appear beyond our control. His plans are greater, His methods more profound, and His purposes will prevail. Embracing God's supreme rule involves a surrender of our own wishes, our agendas, and our will. It means accepting that He knows what's best, even when it's not apparent to us. As stated in Ecclesiastes 3:1, He has made everything beautiful in its time. Even when His timeline doesn't match ours, we can rest assured that God's timing is perfect, His fidelity to His word unwavering, and His plans meticulously timed. Let's therefore trust wholly in God's sovereign power, understanding that He has everything under control. By surrendering our designs and our intentions to Him, we find peace in the knowledge that He is at work for our benefit. Romans 8:28 affirms, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." I invite you to pause and listen to the still, small voice of God. In the quietude of your heart, He speaks comfort. He sees your struggles and hears your pleas. Trust in His enduring strength and guidance. Remember, the night will pass, and with perseverance, victory will emerge. God knows your fatigue, but also recognizes your capacity for greatness. Continue in your journey. Remember, you are never alone. May God's strength and peace fill you, navigating you through any trials that lie ahead. If these words resonate with you, affirm your faith by commenting, "God is always with me," below. I declare that the blessings of this prayer are yours in Jesus' name. Thank you for your presence today. If you found this message meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting content. Remember, keep faith, stay patient, and trust in God's unseen work. Your current pain will eventually lead to future joy. Hold firm to His promises. His love is everlasting.